Welcome back to the Hive Doctor, your beekeeping mentor. Today I'm going to be giving you 4 or 5 tips and tricks that'll make beekeeping just a little bit easier for you. And at the end, I've got quite a doozy. So, stick around. Tip number 1. Although these are not swarm traps, my tip has to do with swarm traps and how to know if you're seeing scout bees or if a swarm has actually moved in. For one thing, the number of bees flying around the box is going to be a huge indicator, but I want you to watch these bees as they come in and land at the box. They come in confidently, like they know where they are. They have recognition, there's no hesitation. They fly in, they land, and they crawl in through the entrance holes. However, when scout bees are checking out a box, a swarm box hopefully, they come in with some hesitation and they have a little bit more of a flighty pattern. They don't necessarily land, and they definitely don't come in with confidence like they're familiar with that box or that small little area that they're in. They come in, they check it out, like they're orienting their sight and they're smelling. That's the indication that that's probably just a scout bee checking out your swarm trap. However, if you do see bees coming in confidently to your swarm trap, one of the biggest indicators is that a swarm has moved in, is that they're carrying pollen on their legs. The next tip or trick is whatever hive stand setup you use, try to come up with a way that you can have a fairly level working surface. For example, this is a movable shelf that I use, and I think it works on the basis of a fulcrum, if I'm thinking of the right word. This goes in and the weight of this goes down and that catches on the end there, so I can put virtually any weight here of any box I work. When I'm working with these 2 hives, I can pop the quilting box with the hive cover, swing it to my right, set it down. I can do the same when I'm working over there. So I can work all 4 hives using this portable shelf before I need to move on to my next hive stand. And I made it where this 2x4 is a little bit higher than this one, so that when I set a box down, I can set the lip up on here so I have the least amount of wood to wood contact as possible, so I'm not squishing any bees. And I'm even going to outfit the side of this with some clips so I can put my frame rest here, and while I'm searching through a box, just hang those frames here out of my way. I've even got a clip on the end for my smoker to just sit down on, so I'm not always having to put it up here or wondering where it is. It's within reach. So no matter what kind of setup you have, I encourage you to use your creativity, because you're a beekeeper. That means you're naturally creative and inventive, and I'm sure that you can come up with something equally as simple and awesome for your own setup. So the next tip is going to be concerning when we're painting our hive equipment, our honey supers, our brood boxes. It's the corners on our boxes that will rot more quickly and sooner than the rest of the box will. And that's because that's where the joints are exposed. That's where moisture is usually able to move in, and when moisture does that, it's all over from there. So what you want to do when you're painting your boxes so that they last much longer and for years to come is when you get some paint on your paintbrush, you want to really work it into the corners and fill those gaps so that water can't get in there, because paint is already in the place that it would be otherwise. Now here's a good example of what I'm talking about. This is just a shadow line up here, but when you dab the paint on your paintbrush, really work it in to the ends there where these finger joints are. And here's an example of where I could have done a little bit better job down there. That's a spot where water could work in. That seam right there is pretty well sealed. And then to make it even more effective, repaint your boxes every other year. Not only will it help protect them against the weather and the elements, but it'll help them to last a lot longer. And as an investment, that's exactly what you want. All right, so that last piece of advice I told you that was going to be a doozy, you're going to love this one. And it came from some of the comments I get sometimes saying, hey, Hive Doctor, if you're trying to teach beginners then why don't you teach them that they need to put on a suit or protective gear? Shame on you. And I'm like, dude, bees have stingers. And to be honest, it's going to be up to every one of us, you and I, to put on protective gear according to our comfort level. The reason you see me not really ever wearing anything is because that's where my comfort level is. I usually wait till I get stung once before I put on a veil. It might sound stupid, but I know bees pretty well, and I don't get stung a lot. But if you are skittish around bees, then a tip is going to be you will want to actually adorn yourself in some type of protective clothing. I know, it's weird, probably mind-blowing, but that is gold for advice. So there you have it, 4 or 5 tips to make beekeeping a little bit easier and obvious for you. I appreciate you tuning in to the Hive Doctor. Drop me one of these, and don't forget to tell your friends about these videos so that they know to put on protective clothing. I'll see you in the next video.